Hello all. Now, you've probably heard us, Israel, complaining about the United Nations Human Rights Council. It's unfair, it's biased, um, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to talk specifically about the Human Rights Council. Not Israel. Not Israel and the Human Rights Council. Israel doesn't exist. Israel has been transported to some other dimension. They're on Mars. Israel is on Mars right now. Now, the Human Rights Council is here on Earth, and they're just sitting there, and they're being their own issue. And oh boy, are they an issue. The mission of the United Nations Human Rights Council is, as the name implies, to promote and protect human rights around the world. Well, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the history of the Human Rights Council. I'm just going to talk about its current membership. There are there are 47 member states on the Human Rights Council, which have staggered 3-year terms, and the membership is proportionate. Handed out proportionally to, on a regional basis. There's America, there's Europe, Africa, Asia, and Pacific. I forget. Anyway, so talk a little about their current membership. Libya. How does Libya get on the Human Rights Council? I don't know. But they did get elected to the Human Rights Council with 87% of the possible vote they could have gotten. That's a lot of support to get on the Human Rights Council. Another member of the Human Rights Council right now, who was just got elected, the newest set of members to join the Human Rights Council, is Libya and also Sudan, which got 91% of the possible vote they could have got. Sudan, which has been engaging in ethnic cleansing for decades. Literally. Now, granted, the old president dictator has been removed, and they seem to have been making some important strides in moving away from their very recent past, but 91% of the vote, they're still clearing out the bodies in Darfur, and they are people who are so trusted to judge human rights in the rest of the world. Seriously. Who else do we have? Venezuela. Venezuela, where an unelected president is starving his people. And yes, he is unelected. That's beyond question. And yes, he is starving his people. When neighboring countries, Bolivia and I forget what other country. Okay, on at least two occasions that I know of, neighboring countries sent shipments of food and medicine into Venezuela. And the Venezuelan army, acting on President Maduro's orders, seized the food and medicine and literally set it on fire in front of crowds of starving, sick people. And they're on the Human Rights Council. They only got 54% of the vote they could have gotten, but what's up with that? But I gotta tell you, there's two more I'd like to talk about. One is Indonesia. Indonesia is a very interesting case because there was a motion before the Human Rights Council to consider the to investigate the continual occupation by Indonesia of the western part of Papua New Guinea, which has been a fairly serious military conflict, which has so far, thousands of Papuans have died. Many thousands of Papuan people have died. And so a country that is the subject of a motion before the Human Rights Council is now a member of the Human Rights Council. How does that happen? In what world does this make sense? Because I don't get it. But the one that the one I get actually mad about, the one I get, the one that makes me angry is Mauritania. Mauritania is now on the Human Rights Council. Mauritania, which is a country where slavery is still legal. As in, it has never been made illegal. Never. It's as the same slavery that has been going on for thousands of years there is still there. And they're on the Human Rights Council. And they got elected to their position with 81% of the possible votes they could have gotten. So, a country where slavery is still legal is trusted to judge on human rights for the whole rest of the world. Again, I ask, in what world does this make sense? Because I don't see how it does. This seems absolutely insane to me. Now, I'm not saying there should not be a United Nations Human Rights Council, because I do think that the more people who are the more time and energy and people who are working on promoting and protecting human rights, the better the world is for everybody in it. But we are faced with a serious problem here, because there are, in fact, a lot of countries who have a long history of violating human rights who are on the Human Rights Council. Now, I'm not saying that there is some kind of conspiracy among dictators to take over the Human Rights Council. I know there are some people who say that. I don't think there is an actual conspiracy. I do think that dictators do want to see dictators on the Human Rights Council. I mean, if you are, say, pull a name out of a hat, Uzbekistan, and you have a dictatorial government and you're committing human rights violations, well, you would really, really want to be on the Human Rights Council, wouldn't you? Because if you're on the Human Rights Council, then you are in a wonderful position to block any kind of action by the Human Rights Council toward your country. But failing that, you would be really happy to see, say, Mauritania on the Human Rights Council. Because while perhaps they might have no actual connection with Uzbekistan, I feel I should state I don't actually know that Uzbekistan is a dictatorship. There's a country in that region that I know that is a really horrible dictatorship, and I can't remember which one it is. And if it's not Uzbekistan, I humbly apologize to anyone from Uzbekistan who sees this. No offense meant. Really, just the first name that came into my mind. So even though there's no actual connection between Uzbekistan and Mauritania, if Mauritania is on the Human Rights Council, what's the actual likelihood that they're going to go after Uzbekistan or any actual dictatorship committing human rights violations? Seriously, what are the odds? They have no reason to. In fact, they have a good reason not to. Because they wouldn't want, they don't want the Human Rights Council to actually take action against violators of human rights. Because whoever they go after at first, eventually they will get to Mauritania. And so, I say again, I don't think there is an actual conspiracy. I don't think that there is some cabal of dictators who have actively taken over the Human Rights Council. Because you don't need to conspire if you all actively want the same thing. Every dictator in the world wants the Human Rights Council to not be effective at its job. And so they all act, they're all going in exactly the same direction. They don't need any meeting to pick a direction to go. They all know where they want to go. They all know what they want to do. And they're all acting to get it done. Now, I suppose someone might call that a conspiracy theory, even though I explicitly say it's not actually a conspiracy. But I truly think there's not a single word I just said there that can actually be proven wrong. If I thought it could be proven wrong, I wouldn't say it. But this is run on a bit long. I've said everything I meant to say, so I'm gonna sign off now. Thanks for watching. Please comment below with anything you have to say. I'd love to know what you think. Please like, share, subscribe. Please, and well, have a good night. God bless. And I will talk further about the Human Rights Council, and I will talk indeed a little more detail about Human Rights Council and Israel in some other video. Yeah. So bye. Have a good night.